Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from this today. So it's 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Um, Please, can we still hear me? Because it's actually been recorded, so let me be sure everyone can hear me still.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you, Camilo, if I got that right. All right, so welcome once again to our monthly Pan AI session for the month of July. Um, few months ago, we had an introduction. So let's just wait a little bit while let's jump start in a minute or two. So about 2 months ago, we had a section talking about agents and the buzzword agents and everything. So we had an introduction, just a more like a theory. Um, but today we are going to be having a hands-on session, and we are going to be using ADK, Google's ADK. So as we know, Pan AI is a monthly um, event or session that holds, for us here, we hold ours every month end, where we talk about topics surrounding AI, emerging technology, business, just about everything that has been, that has an intersection with AI. And so today we're talking about introduction to Agent Development Kit, a hands-on intro to Google's ADK. Okay. So without further ado, let's jump right into that because we have a lot to cover in an hour. And this recording will be made available to everyone at the end of, I'm going to send a recording so you can rewatch the session anytime. Okay. So I don't know. I couldn't present with I'm actually using a Windows machine for this presentation. So a couple of things I couldn't just get fixed at the moment. So I'm using my browser to present this PDF file. I should have used the PowerPoint, but let's just make do with this. So in our last session, we talked about the CEO of Hotspot said agents are the new apps, right? And Mark Zuckerberg said there will be probably more AI agents than there are people in the world. If you go back to our last session, you're going to see much of what I talked about here. And the CEO of NVIDIA said there's going to be, for the very first time, agents sitting on top of apps, on top of tools rather. And at least we can see much of these things already playing already in the industry. Um, the CEO of Microsoft said AI agents will become the primary way we interact with computers in the future. In fact, the future is here already because myself, I can do a lot of things just interacting with agents I built myself or third-party agents or some of these platforms. Okay. Just a little bit of intro. What's AI agents? So AI agents simplified. AI agents is a system designed to reason through complex problems or tasks, create a reasonable plan, and execute this plan. So it follows a continuous cycle of thinking, planning, and acting. And we have this cycle here, continuous cycle of agents. So the agent has to think, just like we humans, when given a task or when we have a problem to solve, we have to think through and plan. What are the steps I'm supposed to take? Even before we do anything, we have to plan. Okay, I'm going to go from point A to point B, and I'm going to pick something from here to this point, and I'm going to return this. So after planning, we act, and then we reflect. So reflect is more like getting feedback, getting reward, and improve your performance. All right, so that's just the cycle our agents take. But now we know AI isn't just answering questions anymore. It's now booking your calendar. In fact, one of the demos I wanted to present today was maybe in our next session is an agent that could just book an event for me, just set up my calendar. I could just use my voice or type or anything and just say, hey, Andy, I want you to set up a meeting for me by 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, and give details. And in less than 5 seconds, or let me say 5 to 10 seconds, I have that event set up on my calendar. Of course, I have to give permission to it to have access to my calendar. And this would have taken maybe 30 seconds to a minute to type before. But in 10 seconds, I have my agent doing that for me. So you can see how powerful these tools are getting. So we have agents replying emails, generating reports, and understanding workflows. Um, and we've officially entered the age of autonomous agents, software that doesn't just respond, but can reason and execute code or task. It, it doesn't just answer questions anymore. So there's a lot more to these agents than they were like a couple of months ago. All right. And some of us, we already have a little bit idea, or we've come across other tools like line graph, like Creo AI, like AutoGen by Microsoft. I think there are a couple of these tools. You might have used them already, which is pretty similar to what we are going to be using today, just one or two differences. But Google came up with their own ADK couple of months ago, and it's grown so wide in popularity. In fact, I kind of like Google ADK. Maybe I'm biased, I don't know, but I kind of like Google ADK compared to the others I've got to use over time. Okay, so Google came up with their development kit. It's a framework designed to let developers build intelligent agents using structured prompts, external tools, memory modules, and large language models like Gemini. And actually, you're not just stuck to using Gemini alone. Google ADK allows you to import other models like your Claude, like your OpenAI, ChatGPT, any other model you could use. You can actually import them to Google ADK. That's one good thing I like about Google ADK. So, how to build agents with ADK. So we'll talk about some of this, and we'll just go straight to writing codes right away. So no much talking today. Now, Google actually have two implementations of ADK. We have the Python implementation and we have the Java implementation. But today, we are going to be using that of Python. Okay. And it's as simple as just doing pip install ADK, but I'm going to take us through a recommended path or way of doing that. So we're going to talk about four things briefly. Your folder structure. We are going to talk about your dependency installation. We are going to talk about downloading your API key, downloading and accessing your API key, and then lastly, we're just about running your agents. Okay, those are the four things. So your folder structure, there's a particular folder structure that's expected of you. You don't just run it anyhow. You have to follow that rule. Okay, and then we're going to talk about installation. So we are not just going to be running this right here. So okay, so if you've been writing Python code for a while, even JavaScript or whichever language, you know that the recommended way of doing that is to create a virtual environment for every project you are doing, right? You're going to create a virtual environment. So, and it's as simple as you just saying Python. So first of all, you want to create a project, a folder, a parent folder. And I think we have something like this here. Let me show us here. So you can see here, I have a parent folder called Intro to ADK. All right, then in this folder, I have my virtual environment here. So you can see the virtual environment is just for this project alone. So this is in order to avoid dependency conflicts, whereby you have another version of Fast API, and you have another version of Django, or you have another version of ADK, another version of Gen AI. This can cause conflicts. So it's recommended you have different projects having different virtual environment. So you want to create this. So I think I had this running earlier. Let me just kind of stop there. Okay. So you want to create this virtual environment here using Python, make then this is the name of the virtual environment, and this could be anything. You can call it my virtual environment, but I think I'm of the habit of just using dot, then verb. Um, and then to activate your virtual environment, these are the codes for Mac or Linux. Source, verb, that's the name of the virtual environment being activated. But for Windows, which is the machine I'm using right now for this, it's just you going straight to the directory and then running activate.bat. And once you have this, of course, you could actually use Windows PowerShell as well. And this is the command for that. And once you run this particular scripts, you're going to see this, um, the virtual environment being activated here. Yeah, you're going to see that activated. So this is telling you whatsoever you do now is just for this is limited to this project alone. The other projects I have is not going to be affected whatsoever. All right, and I could deactivate, I could delete this environment anytime I want. All right. So once we have that, so once you have this environment activated this way, you have to make sure the environment name is at the beginning here, it's preceding wherever you have here. And then you want to run pip install Google ADK. But now this should be done if you just want to install Google ADK. But as we progress over time, you have other packages and libraries you might want to install. And so here comes the need for this requirements.txt file. So I created a requirements.txt file, and I'm going to explain other things right here in a moment. But before we get there, so we have the requirement.txt file, and in here I have Google ADK, I have python.env, and I have Google Gen AI. So in fact, for the project we're going to be doing today, we actually need just these two, Google ADK, and because by the time you install this, it automatically installs the Google Gen AI as a requirement, all right? But I just had to add it there. So most times you just your requirement of TXT file, and you want to have every package you want to install for a project. This is a recommended way to do it, all right? You want to have it inside this requirement of TXT file. So once you're done, you want to just run pip install. Then you want to say requirement.txt. So as you can see for this project, I have my requirement.txt file. And so once I have that, you can see, just a second. Okay, so once I run this, every package listed here is going to be installed in this virtual environment. And of course, if you go right here, you can see I already have some of these packages installed here, quite a lot of them we can't go through. So you can see just by running this alone, you have a whole lot of packages, even fast API, of course, and also UVCon, which is the server we are going to be using to spin up our web UI. Okay, so let me just have this closed. Oops, let me just have this closed. All right, so you want to run pip install read requirement.txt file, and then it's going to install everything for you. All right, so that's for the installation. And then let's go back to the folder structure. So we are done with dependency and installation. So let's go on to folder structure. Just a second. Okay, so Google requires a particular format of folder structure. So first of all, you have a parent folder that contains your agents or agents. So you could have multiple agents, or you could have just one agent, like in the case of the first one we're going to be solving here. So you want to have a parent folder. So in my case here now, I have my parent folder called basic agent. This is the second one we're going to be talking about later. So I have my parent folder called basic agent. And then in this basic agent, I have the greeting agent. That's the name of the agent. So if I had like 5 more agents here, you're going to see them listed here in different directories, if I wanted it that way. But then you have to make sure you have a parent folder, give it a name, and then you have your agent in the next subfolder in this way. And then inside your main agents, you want to make sure you have these 3 files here, your init.py, the agent.py, and then your .env. So let me quickly explain what these 3 files are doing. And I'm going to be starting from the agents, the .env shortly. Uh, okay, let me go back here. So first of all, when you go back to the .m. So I created an example .m. So this is the file here, but I have my credentials here. So I just had to I had to create a sample, an example file here for us to use. So this is what you're going to see in here. First of all, you want to leave this line the way it is because we're not going to be using Google Vertex AI. We're not going to be using Cyber. So you want to set that to false. But then the most important thing here is your API key. So you're going to be given a digit. So how do you get your API key? How do you access your API key from Google? And it's same thing for every other platform you want to use. They all give you an API key. So for Google, you want to go to this URL here. You want to go to this URL here to get your projects, to create a project and get an API key. So you want to go to console.cloud.google.com. And of course, I actually left a link here in case maybe you don't understand. You could go through this link here. It's a blog, and it's going to give you the whole step I'm going to be taking right now. So once you go to that link, for me, I already created, I already have projects here. So it's kind of different from what you're going to see. This might look blank, saying welcome or whatever. So, and you want to click on this part here. And once you click on this, it's going to take you to, it's going to bring up a window like this. So if you're creating your project for the first time, this is going to be empty. All right, you might just maybe a demo or a test project or something, but probably it's going to be empty. And then you want to click on this create new project over here, create new project. So once you click that, it's going to bring up a window for you to enter the project name. And of course, I've almost forgot to mention, if you're creating your account here, you have to add, you have to get a billing account, add in a credit card, but you won't be debited, by the way, you won't debited because if you're creating your account for the first time, Google gives you $300 credit free for a start. And that will take you for a very long time to do whatever you want to do. So I think you have free credit. So don't worry, nobody's going to charge you, but they just want you to put your credit card there. That's just all. So then for this, if you're creating your project, you will be asked for the project name. You're going to select a billing account, and then they're going to ask for an address. I think that's just all. And then you create a project, and it's going to appear here. So for the case of this demo today, for this section, we are going to be using this one I created, generative language client. And then once you have this, you want to click on that link on the first option over there, whichever one you have, for those of us who might already have experience about this. So once you click on that, it's going to open another window like this for us. And then you want to create your API key under that project. So every project can have different API keys, right? So it's as easy and straightforward as that. So you want to click on this create credentials. And once you click on this, we have like 4 options, right? The very first option is you creating an API key. I think the second one is creating odds, but don't worry about this. This is what I was using for my calendar app or something. So we have no business here today. So you just want to create credential, an API key rather, and then it's just going to ask you for the API name, all right, the name of the API key you want to create. And mine is Gemini API practice. All right, you can see I created this a long while ago, and I've been using it for different tasks and all. All right, so once you create this, you're going to be given a key. You're going to be asked to download that key because you might not have access to it after it's been closed. And of course, you can always restore or rotate your credentials anytime you want to. You can delete it, you can restore, you can rotate it anyhow. All right. So once you have your API key created, it's straightforward. And please, if at any point you got lost, you could go back and follow this blog I gave you. All right. Okay. So once you're done with creating your credentials, you want to enable APIs and services. And for this, we are going to be using um, the Gemini API, right? Gemini API for a large language model, just like the same way you could have access to OpenAI GPT-4, you could have access to Claude models and every other models out there. So we are going to be using Gemini. If to do that, you want to go to APIs and services. So you want to click on this link. And then once you click on that, it's going to bring up Gemini. Or you can actually search for it here using this search bar here, right? And once you search for Gemini API, it's going to bring up this. And for you, it's going to show another button here telling you to enable API. But for me, I already have that API enabled, so I don't have to enable it again. So you have that enabled and you are all set to go. All right, once you have that key, so first of all, you want to go to the link console cloud or Google, and then you want to create a project. After creating a project, you want to create an API key. After creating an API key, you want to enable Google Gemini or Vertex or whichever, like the calendar and other apps I enabled. So I think that is all. And then I'm going to come back to this shortly. All right. So once you have your API key, you want to copy that API key and paste it here. But please, you're not using this example dot example file. So in fact, I'm going to upload this project to my GitHub repository, and I'm going to send it as well to I think there's a link at the end of this slide. You can always have access to all the code and everything we use today, and then you can run them anytime. So you're going to have just this key, this file here. So you want to replace this, whatever you have here, with your own API key. So this is just an example file to show you how it looks like. And once you have that, you're all set to go. All right. So the next file I want us to look at is this guy here. So now we've talked about folder structure, we've talked about installing dependencies, we've talked about getting and accessing your API key. So next, let's talk about this file. So remember, we have a file here called, I said you need three important files here, the init.py, the .env file, and this agent.py, agent.py. So in this file, we have our agent. It's called agent.py. And then in here, the init.py. So if any language you're using and you're making import, so in the case of Python here, we are simply telling Python that, okay, from this current directory or this folder I'm working on, look for this module called agent. Of course, we don't need to include the .py here. We don't need to include that. So Python is smart enough to know that this is the file we are making reference to. So if you have a file called maybe calculator.py, whatever.py, you just want to reference the file alone, not the extension. So in this case, I'm telling Python from this current directory imports what, or from this current space imports this agent. And that's all that there is to be in this file. That's just nothing more, at least for the case of this project we are running today. All right. So, and then the most important file here is the agent.py itself. I'm kind of trying to rush because we have another very, very important and fun project to work on, which is the second one. We're going to be using tools here, right? So now you want to import your agent from Google .adk.agent, import agent. So a couple of things here I want to make. Please, can we still hear me, everyone? Let me be sure I'm not talking to myself. Can we hear me?
Yep.
All right, thank you, Camilo, thank you. So there are a couple of things here I want to explain, four for now. Then the fifth one we're going to talk in the next agent we are building. So first of all, you want to have one root agent, at least one root agent in your agent file. And this is going to serve as an entry point to every request you're going to be making, every request you're going to be sending or making to your agent. So you want to have at least one root agent, and then you're creating an instance of this guy here. All right, so make sure you have a root agent in every of your projects. All right. Then the next thing here is the name. The first thing inside, first argument we're passing here is the name. Everybody have a name. My name is Benjamin. We have Camilo here. We have Perez and some other amazing. We have Andy here. So everybody have a name. We identify you by your name. So agents also should have a name. And this lets us to know, as we're going to see shortly, who or what is doing what. I'm using who now to, to make reference to the agent. So we want to know who is doing what, who is acting at a particular point in time. All right, so your agent should have a name, and the name should be descriptive and short. Descriptive and short. So in my case, since I'm calling this agent a greeting name, so it's just okay to say greeting name, but the name could be anything you want it to be. All right, so it's very, very, very important. And then the next thing here is the model you want to use. You remember when we started, I said Google actually allows you to make or to call external third-party models like from Claude, from OpenAI, from anywhere. You could use any of their models. But today we are just going to be using Google Gemini, and you could use any of their models. And I made references here on the slide. You can see Google Gemini 2.5 Pro, Google Gemini 2.5 Flash, and the rest of them. So you want to check, before you pick any model here, you want to check their inputs and their outputs, right? You want to see it takes audio, images, videos, blah, 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 and what are the outputs? Now, the reason why I wanted this, I changed to this experimental, 2.5 Flash experimental, was because I wanted to do a little bit of outputs with audio. You can see this Pro and they don't output audios, right? So I wanted to speak to the agent and also get back audio in return. Okay, just a second. All right. So you want to make sure you pick your model. And before you do that, so you want to check the pricing. So they have pricing, I think for the Google Gemini 2.5 Flash, I think it's 20 cents per 1 million token. If my memory is not failing me, yeah, it's no more than that. As of when I checked last, 20 cents per 1 million token, which is very, 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 very cheap. Well, relatively cheap, I can say, because I know for some currencies that's quite high. All right, so it's just about 20 cents for 1 million token, which is more than what you need for any demo or practice you want to do. All right, so the model, very, very important. So for this, I'm using Gemini 2.0 Flash Experimental. Then the third thing here is your description. So description is more like a job overview or more like a complimentary card. You have a complimentary card and someone looks at it and they know, okay, this is Benjamin. Benjamin is an ML engineer. Or this is Camelo. Camelo is an AI, is a prompt engineer, or this is a plumber, or this is this. So it's just you saying, this is what I do. A one word or a two phrase, whichever how you want it to be, just put your description. So it just tells or says what the agent does in just a simple sentence. Okay. So, and the fourth here is your instruction. Now, instruction is very, very important. If you've heard of prompt engineering, this is where your prompting comes to play. It's very important. And you want to be as descriptive, as detailed, as comprehensive as possible. Because if you're going to give me a JD, if you're going to tell me to do something, you want to be as descriptive as possible. You want to tell me, Ben, this is what I want to do in 5 lines, 6 lines, 7 lines. You don't want to write just one line here and say, this is what you should do. It doesn't work that way. For this, it looks very simple, but you just want to be as descriptive and detailed as possible here. Of course, we know this from using all of these AI, because you want to be as descriptive as possible, telling, okay, ChatGPT or Google Gemini, I want you to do this, after this, do this, after this, call this, summarize in 5 lines in 120 words or something like that. So you want to be very descriptive here. You can see I created my first instruction and then I commented that out and I created another one. So you want to say you are a helpful assistant that greets the user, asks for the user's name, and then greet them by name. So I commented that out for something saying, you're a friendly assistant answering user questions. First ask for the user's name and greet them by name before answering their request or their question. Okay, so, and then once you have this, your agent is all set and done. There's nothing more for you to do, at least for this demo project, I think. So the next thing we want to see now is how to run our demo. But before that, let me just give a quick preview or overview of how our agent works, right? So you want to send a query, you're sending a query to your agent. This is the user sending a query to the agent. Then the agent thinks, plans, and does everything. Now, let's imagine this as you being a plumber or an electrician or whoever you are, and you are asked to fix a light bulb in a house. And you come with your tools. You have your screwdriver, you have your hammer, you have your saw, you have your wrench, you have all what you need for your work, right? And you come and see, oh, this one is damaged. You not look through your toolbox or your tool belt. What do I need to remove this socket? Or what do I need to remove this wherever you're trying to fix? Is it a screwdriver? Even a screwdriver, what kind of screwdriver am I using? Is it a flat? Is it a star? Is it different kind? So the agent thinks from my tool belt, what kind of tool do I have? Do I have access to a tool that checks for weather? Do I have a Google search capability? Do I have a code execution? Do I have a RAG capability? And what have you? So this, you can have multiple tools in one agent, as we'll see in the next demo. Okay, but this is just a very simple and basic agent. So there are no tools here, right? There are no tools here for this demo at least. So once this agent calls this tool gets to action, executes some code, and then returns a result to this agent, back to the agent that made the call. Then this agent processes the result, formats it, and sends it back to the user. So this is just a simple way. Each time you make requests to ChatGPT, you make requests to Google Gemini, you make requests to Perplexity, this is what happens under the same. But somehow it's smart enough. Now, ChatGPT is just a general purpose AI. But now we are building like a specific purpose, and that's what agents are. Sometimes you want to build a specific purpose agent from general purpose, and it gives you more accuracy, solve your problems better than the general purpose. And that's why you see a lot of companies or startups spinning up from building wrappers around all these large language models because they are being specific rather than building general purpose tools, all right? So let's go on. So that's just an overview of how your agent works. So how do we run our agent? So first of all, you want to go to this parent folder, not inside this multi-agent tool. Like in our case now, you don't want to be inside this greeting agent. You want to be inside the basic agent here. As you can see, this is where I am currently. I'm not inside this this folder here. So you can see I'm inside the basic agent, which is this. You want to be inside this parent folder here. All right. So there are a couple of ways to run your agent. One of them, I'm going to talk about two here, rather. So you either want to use the ADK web, all right? You want to use your terminal, you want to seed into this directory, and then you want to use your ADK web, which is what we're going to be using now to spin up a server, or you want to run ADK. So if you're friendly or prefer the terminal, you could do ADK run greeting agent. So you want to come here, ADK run, then this greeting agent. And ADK is smart enough to know that once it goes into this folder, you are now calling this agent, all right? But we are not going to be using that method because some people might not really find it funny to use the terminal. So we are going to be using ADK web. Okay. So once that is spun up, okay, I think. So while that is coming up, this is going to spin up. If you remember when we installed, this is going to spin up a UVCon server. If you build applications with maybe Fast API mostly, it comes, you could use UVCon. If you've used Django before, Django comes with its own server for you to run your servers or to test your applications locally. What is happening? Just give me a couple of seconds. Just a couple of seconds, I don't know. Oops. I'm sorry, I don't know. Okay, very good. So you can see this pins up a server for you here. So you could read every other thing you want to. And if you want to get help, you could just type ADK alone, and it's going to give you a couple of other what's it called, argument or flags you could pass to see. So let's quickly click on this link, and then it's going to open up um, this for us. Okay, very well. So we have our UI, our agent running now. So before we chat with this agent, let me just explain a couple of things. As you can see here, what I mentioned earlier, you can see the name. So usually if you have multiple agents running here, you could pick the particular agents you want to interact with here. But in our case, we just have one agent, and ADK is smart enough to just select that agent by default. So just one or two I want to talk about here. So events is just a record of, you want to see what we are doing in real time. Okay, for example, if you have a long running task running on your agents, you could quickly come at this event and you see the way it's executing, sending requests, getting responses. You could see all of that in real time. Okay, that's it. And this is we for states. State is just we storing info with our agents, like your username, password, just information about you, right? We store that in our state, okay? And then for sessions, since we didn't talk about eval, I'm not really going to go into this. Eval is just you evaluating and testing your agents and all. For sessions are just series of what should I say now? Series of conversations we've had with our AI. So each section, as you can see, you can create new charts here. So each chart you create here comes up as a session. You can see this section is same thing here. So I can delete this section and create new section again. So all the conversations you have will all be listed here, and you can go to any of them at any point in time. So the events, states, and sessions. So let's see, let me try, see if I can use my voice. I don't know if this is going to allow me today. Hello, how are you? Uh, um, I don't know.
Hello,
Hello.
Bruno. How can I help you today?
Okay.
Did you have a question for me?
All right. So you could hear that your agent could actually talk to you, but I want to use text so that we can actually see the response to that. So I want to say hello. Um, then you can see our agent running. Hello there. Before we get started, um, may I have your name? And I'm going to say, my name is Benjamin. So, and then so hello, Benjamin. It's a pleasure to meet you. How can I help you today? And I could ask questions and questions and questions. But remember, from the instruction we gave over here, the reason why it's following that instruction is because we told the agent, first of all, ask for the user's name and greet them by name before answering your question. Now you can see it followed that instruction just the way I specified. Right. So we are going to start for this demo because I have something more interesting for us and our time is running um, fast already. So let me show us what I talked about the event. So if you go back to this event, all right, can you see what happened here? The events have been recorded in real time, right? If I click on this, you can see my greeting agent here, right? And you can see text, hello there, before we get started, blah, blah, blah. And you can see the token count, the text. Even when I used voice, if you check everything, you're going to see all of those, everything. And then let me go back to the requests. Okay. So you can see what happens in the request is this. So each time you send a request to Google ADK, right, it combines the system instruction with the user requests. All right, it combines all of that with the user request. You can see the system instruction, I gave it here. and then you can see my first saying hello here. All right. And if I click on the second what's it called event, I could actually see my next request saying my name is Benjamin. And you can see the responses. You can check all of this at your own time, but we are running out of time, so let me go. So that's just a simple demo of how ADK works. All right, you can also check the states, and you can also check, I think this just going to level time to appear here. You can also check your sessions. All right, so that's just the basic, our basic agent. It does nothing much, just greeting the user. But let's see something more advanced, a little bit advanced here. All right, and then we are going to talk about tools. All right, we are going to talk about tools. Just a second, please. All right, so what are tools? Remember I said you're more like a plumber and you want to go fix someone's house or fix something in their house. Rather, you have your toolbox, you have a toolbox or whatsoever filled with tools. So agents as well can be equipped with tools. All right, the same way you have a lot you want to work with. So what are tools, types of tools, how do we add tools, and tool calling in action? That's what we're going to be covering next. So what's a tool? In the context of ADK or agents in general, please, can we hear me? I just want to be sure I'm not talking to myself. Hello? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you,
Yeah,
sir.
I can hear you, Ben.
All right, thank you. So in the context of ADK, a tool represents a specific capability provided to an agent, all right, enabling it to perform actions and interact with the world beyond its core text generation and reasoning ability. We know under the hood, we are using LLMs, right? So beyond this basic text generation and all, you want to add extra capabilities to your agents, okay? And this distinguishes capable agents from basic language models. I'm coming, I don't know, I kind of saw something pop up on my screen. So what distinguishes capable agents from basic language models is often their effective use of tools. So technically, a tool is just it's typically a modular code component. And then as we're going to see, like a Java or Python function, as we're going to see key characteristics, we'll see types shortly. So key characteristics of tools, they are action-oriented. Tools perform specific actions like querying a database. So in this case now, we are not querying any database. We are not checking any API aside the basic one that Gemini provides, right? So API requests to maybe fetch weather data, book system, booking systems. You can actually book flights, book hotels, do a lot of things. I've seen demos, a lot of demos about. So these are all making requests to external APIs, right? You want to search the web, and this is what happens when you chat with OpenAI, ChatGPT, or Google, or Perplexity, or what's the name of this? DeepSeek. And when you turn on the search web, this is what happens under the hood. It actually calls this. They have one agent out there that searches the web, crawls the web, and gets you current information, right? So, and then we have another for code execution. Retrieve information from document, as we know, RAG. Wherever you say RAG, you're trying to retrieve information from a corpus or from a document, and then interact with other software or services. There's a lot to the actions that an agent can perform. And agents, it also extends agent capabilities. They empower agents to access real-time information, affect external systems, and also overcome the knowledge limitation inherent with their training data. Okay, so I'm trying to go fast here. So how agents use tools? I think we already touched on this earlier. So agent leverage tools dynamically through mechanism often called, referred to as function calling, right? Function calling. Some say tool calling, it's same thing though, tool calling, function calling. So it goes through the process of the steps of reasoning. So just like I explained earlier, you want to fix this pipe or this broken socket or something. You want to think, okay, what am I supposed to do? After you think what you're supposed to do, then you reach out for the particular tool that you could use to fix that effectively. You can't use a hammer to drive in a screw, right? I can't use a screwdriver to drive in a nail. So you have to know for this particular task, this is what I'm supposed to do. So after the agent is done reasoning, it goes through its tool belts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tools, and then select the best tool. And how does it know how to select that tool? If not through the job description here I mentioned earlier. That's just how it knows how to select the best tool. So you want to make your description here short and straight to the point. All right. And then after selecting the tool, it calls the tool, and the tool goes on to execute, do one or two things, and then send back a request to the agent. So the agent receives output and result returned by the tool, and then finalization, the agent incorporates the tool output into its ongoing reasoning process and all of that. So it's just a cycle, a loop. It goes on and on, reasoning, selection, invocation, and on like that. All right, so think of tools as a specialized toolkit that the agent intelligent call can assess and utilize as needed to accomplish complex tasks. So let's see, lastly, before we go into the code once again, tool types in ADK. So we have 3 types here. We have the function tools. Function tools is simply defining more like a Python function using the def keyword in Python. So functions or methods define standard synchronous functions or methods in your code. We'll see that shortly in 1 minute or 2. And then you can also import other agents as tools. So can you see if I have series of agents now, I could import all these agents as tools also if I don't want to, or if I don't have any predefined, my own custom defined tool, right? I could import another agent as a tool. And also we have long running function tools. And then the good thing, Google comes with a whole lot of built-in tools. I usually call this batteries included because you just have them right out of the box, ready to use. No customization, nothing. You just use them the way it is. And a couple of them is what I think I mentioned here. We have searching the web, executing code snippets, RAG, and so on. There are a lot of them. And we are just going to see 2 today. I'm going to define a custom function, and I'm going to use built-in tool. And also, we have third-party tools. So you could import tools from anywhere, from Creo AI, from anywhere. But there's a catch here. There's something you want to be careful about. Google ADK doesn't allow you to use third-party tools with its models. Now, let me explain that from the perspective of the code here. Or maybe I think I should close this. So let me just open the new project we are having in a moment. So we are done with this project here. So I want to go back. So this is the next tool we are going to be running, the tool agent. So you can see I have similar thing here, my init.py. You can see it's basically the same thing we had previously. And then my env file, and then the agent file. So this is where we're going to be paying attention to. So, and also I want to make sure I change directory into this tool agent. So tool agent. So I want to be here. Remember, you have to be in the parent folder, not in the subfolder, in the parent folder. But in this case, I think I kind of named them same thing, but take note, I'm in the first tool agent folder here. All right. So I was saying something about Google not allowing you to use external tools with its model here. All right, so if you're going to use any tool from maybe Cloud, from Creo AI, from AutoGen, or wherever, Google does not allow you. So if you want to do that, you want to make sure you're changing your model to whatsoever model that is compatible with the tool you're using. So in our case, of course, we are going to be using our custom, what's it called now? Custom tool and the built-in tool, and of course, which Google permits. So I just wanted to mention that Google does not allow you to use external to its model, right? Okay. All right, so I'm going to come back to this. So let's see this in action shortly. So it gives you all the information based on the request you make, and you can keep making requests, asking questions, and so on and so forth, right? So you can see telling us trading, exchange, 1 year change, all time, every other thing. You could ask any other question, and it's going to give you real-time information based on search. The same way you search on Google, and then you get your real-time information. Same way you search on Perplexity, the same way you search on OpenAI or whichever of these platforms. So then if you go to your events, let's see what happens here. So can you see Google ADK? Google ADK goes across the web. You can see different sources it actually went to look for information, gathers a lot of information. Now, most of us don't even know all these things happen whenever you make a search request or something. It goes through a couple of, it goes through the URLs, extract the text, extract information from those websites or web pages, and then condenses them or extract the important ones and gives you. And all these things happen in seconds. All these things happen in seconds. They all happen in seconds. And if you go down to your request, you can see every other thing we saw before, right? You can see every other thing. You can see the URLs and all that. So this is just a simple demo of how tools work in ADK. You simply define your tool, and then you pass in those tools as a list inside of your ADK here, right? Your name, your model description, and on and on and on. So I hope we have more subsequent sessions to discuss advanced features of this. So let me quickly, while we round up, so sessions and memory. So sessions make agents remember things between different conversations. That's what sessions do. Because if I come to this, sorry, let me go back here. If I come to this point now, I can create new sessions and I can go to any session and have conversation. So ADK remembers all of that. Then we talk about persistent storage. This makes agents to save data. That's your sessions and memory. And then we're talking about database functionality. And we have two types. And we have in-memory session service. And then we also have the database session service. This one deals with you saving in real-time database, and this one is more like memory. So each time, if your cookies or wherever it's destroyed, all of this is gone. All right, so we have two types. We could implement any of those session persistent storage. And then next, we want to look at this multi-agent. Multi-agent is you having multiple agents working on a task. So they work together. You have 5 people working together in a particular task in order to give you maximum outputs, right? So you want to have multiple agents. So you want to define 3, 4, 5 agents working on a particular task. And then lastly, we have workflows for agents, right? We have 3 types: the sequential, we have the parallel, and we have the loop. So sequential simply means we have like 3 agents. The first agent, agent 1, has to work, get done, and pass its outputs or results to the next agent, agent 2. Agent 2 works and passes its results to agent 3. Agent 3 works and passes its results to agent 4, and on and on and on and on until the task is complete. So that's sequential from 1, 2, 3. That's how sequential agents work. And then we have the parallel agent. Parallel agents, they work, should I say, simultaneously. They all work together. Agent 1, agent 2, agent 3, they work together at the same time. And then at the end of the day, they combine their results and give you a response. Then the loop agents, they work in cycles. So it's similar to sequential, but in this case, after the last agent works, that last agent passes its results also to agent 1. So there's a cycle going on and on until there's a desired result, and then it passes the result to you. So this is how the workflow of agent, from sequential, you go to parallel, and you go to loop. All right, I'm just kind of rushing. Our time is fast spent. So lastly, I have some ADK samples, like maybe 7 or 8 of them, including that of today. So you can go to this URL, GitHub Benjamin /ADK samples. And when you go to this URL, you want to check the Python, not Java, please, the Python implementation of this. Then when you go to this folder, you're going to see a whole lot of agents. You just need to either fork the repo or maybe clone it, or wherever you want to download it locally to your system, install the required files or dependencies rather, and then you're good to go. So you have samples in this. If you want to if you want to check out the Java implementation, you might want to check that out as well. So I think that's all. So go to this URL. I'm going to upload this slide and the recording much later. I'll send to our emails, the emails you signed up with. So I think that is the end for today. I know it was quite fast, but our time was just limited. And we'll have more sessions to talk about other features of ADK in our subsequent sessions. So thank you, guys. Thank you. So this is the end of my presentation. I don't know if we have questions for me. I'll be happy to answer. And your questions, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for
Yeah.
everything. My question is on the first agent, that's the basic agent. In the instructions that you gave it, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you just reiterate a few things you said earlier?
I'm saying in the instruction that you gave the basic agent,
Yeah.
there were after the first 2 lines, I think, can you please go back to your code, PDF code?
To my cursor here.
For the basic agent.
Okay, basic agent. Okay. This guy.
Yes. I saw that the first 2 instructions had a hashtag, or they had hashtags, and then the other 2 did not. So I joined somewhat late, and then I was expecting to do something in the other areas, but it wasn't there. So what does it do? I'm
These
talking
two
about the instruction.
these two
The
lines
first
here.
two.
You mean these 2 lines?
Yes, I noticed the hashtag, but it's almost as if it's the same thing the other 2 lines below are saying. So it's like a duplicate. So I don't know if the
Okay.
hashtag goes.
No, this is actually commented out. I commented it out. So a comment works like this too. So this is actually what the instruction is using, not this guy. Yeah.
It wasn't grayed out. That was my concept. So
Okay,
thank
that's
you.
because I passed it inside, what's it called? Inside the this doc string. Okay, so that's the reason why. But the reason why I left it is just to tell you how you can be more descriptive, you understand? So that's the reason why you could actually still delete it. But I had to just comment it out, but it's not being read actually. It's not being read.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So any other question from us? Let me see. Someone is saying something here. Okay, so if no other question, thank you guys for staying up to this time. We spent extra 15 minutes. So like I said, I'm going to make this recording available in the slide, and I'm going to send those to your emails between now and tomorrow at most, okay? So you could rewatch the section, you could go through the slide, you could ask questions, and don't forget to check this ADK sample. So I'm going to be dropping the code as well, the code for today's section and the others as well. You're going to find them in this Python folder from this repo. Okay, so I think with that, we've come to the end of today's section. We hope to see you guys in our next session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for staying back, and have a good day or have a good night, wherever your time zone is at the moment. So take care and stay safe, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.